Hello. All right, all right, all right. Let me see if everybody can hear me. Can everybody hear me? Let's see. See where everybody is. We got. Can you guys hear me? I know you can see me. Can you hear me? All right. Hello, Connie on Facebook and YouTube, and Share Bear on Facebook. Hello. Sorry, YouTube. Welcome. Looks good. Sounds good. Awesome. Awesome. Just making sure the mic isn't like in my face or anything. So awesome. Good morning, everyone. At this point, I'm a little bit more. I guess I want to say a little bit more, just a little bit more accustomed to. Let me just turn this off because I think I have the. Nope. Okay, excellent. I've been Hello, Connie. Chris Mendoza. Welcome. Thank you. Make sure that everybody on Facebook should know that we're here. I don't know. I put it out on the initial thing. Linda's here, so okay. People on Facebook do know. Excellent. Good morning, Linda. I want to say that I am a little bit more accustomed to doing this because I've basically been doing it every day for the month of September. So I've been doing these little shorts about, I want to say between 6 and 8 minutes long. Thank you, Chris. Totally appreciate it. About 6 to 8 minutes long. And they're the Creative Warrior Wisdom shorts. And so it's getting a little more comfortable. Welcome, Audrey. Hello. So it's getting a little more comfortable. Let me get the event page for Facebook for here so we can have the questions up. So it's getting a little easier. I'm not going to say a lot easier, but definitely a little easier to do these. It's actually easier to do the longer ones because there's a format. And because there's a format, it's easy to just follow. I have what I got to say. I got the shout outs. I got the updates. I got the patrons. We've got the questions at the end. So there's kind of a loose format to everything. It's a little harder to do the shorts because, hello, Heather. It's a little hard to do the shorts because they're thoughts either from famous Stoic philosophers or thoughts that I've had, and I kind of have to distill the thought into 5-minute segments, 5-minute nuggets. So I'm still kind of feeling my way around it, you know. I think, and I know it's the tagline is life, creativity, and warriorship. So I'm trying to take something from everyone, from each one of those sections to kind of bring to the shorts. But it's easier said than done. I hope, yeah. Thank you, Anthony, for reminding me. I know all of any of you who are in the path of Hurricane Helene, I believe it is. I hope you guys are okay. If you are, you should not be online right now. You should be staying somewhere safe. Right, exactly. Yeah, the shorts are like speech class, very much like speech class, like 5 minutes or less. Or actually, I try to stay around 6 minutes, but sometimes it goes a little longer. I think today it went a little longer. But 5 minutes, what's the word I'm thinking? Pithy is the word I'm thinking. Short, to the point, kind of just distill the essence of what it is I want to say and get it out and be able to, you know, just it's conveying a little bit of wisdom. Not that I'm so ancient that I have so much wisdom, but conveying a bit of wisdom that can get across for the day. It's like kind of like your wisdom for the day, you know? So yeah, something like that. And it's been interesting because it's usually early in the morning. It's usually right after I train. So I train around 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. So it's usually after that, it's around 5 a.m. And I'm still kind of like, if you see me in some of the videos, I should start doing the bloopers. I told Dolly I wanted to do bloopers. If you see me in some of the videos, I look bleary-eyed in some of them. Like, what am I doing this early in the morning? Let's see else was here. Enid, good morning. Welcome. Suma, good morning. Welcome, guys. Welcome to our Kaffeeklatsch. I hope you have whatever substitutes for your Kaffeeklatsch. Hello. Okay, so let me do the greeting for everyone. Shout out to everyone on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. So actually, the YouTube channel, I don't know if it's growing. I think it's growing a little. Is it growing at all? It's like, I know it's getting more views because of the shorts. I don't know if it's growing yet. I have to kind of start looking at the analytics and pick the brain of our technomancer. So Chris is gonna have to educate me a little bit and see how they're doing, you know. So yeah, wisdom comes from looking back on the Legos of life that you've traveled. Yeah, it's very, very, very true. So I want to say hi to everyone on YouTube. Thank you for being here. Thank you for dropping in. Thank you for saying hello, coming in. The Kaffeeklatsch is a little different from the shorts. Obviously, there's not that kind of engagement. There's no comment section really, because in the shorts they're like 5 minutes. We're not. There's no commenting. It's just kind of me sharing something in the morning, basically. Hello to everyone on Instagram. I have been posting up stuff on Instagram, but on my Instagram, not on the Bitten Peaches Instagram, because when I train, I'm putting up what I do on the rowing machine or the kettlebells and things like that. So that's kind of what I'm putting on my Instagram. I'm using that to kind of get back into the things, back into the swing of you posting regularly on Instagram. So I'm trying to use that first. Excuse me, but I will be posting regularly on the Bitten Peaches Instagram for sure. So here's our, let's see how the internet's working, feeling today. So let's see. Let's see where we are. Look at the links. YouTube link. There it is. First of all, okay. Please subscribe. So if you subscribe and let other people subscribe, like get them to subscribe too, it helps the channel grow. We're trying to get to our first 1,000. And now the channel has not just the Kaffeeklatches, but it has the CWW episodes. And I've numbered them because it does make it easier to keep track of them. I think we're up to 28 today. So just go to YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You'll find a new short video every day, and then you'll find the big Kaffeeklatsch videos every 2 weeks. So just go there for please subscribe and like. There you go. Sometimes it's hard getting those words out. All right, and for our Instagram, we're on Instagram, so this is the Instagram page. All these links will be in the MoB. So if you don't see them, or if they're going a little too fast for you, they'll be in the MoB later on. So our Instagram is, again, I've been doing my Instagram, but I'm starting to do the Bitten Peaches Instagram, and then that'll start growing into, like, again, because we have a lot of stuff on our Instagram, and we'll start putting in more things regarding to books. We'll get to the books in a moment. We also have our Zazzle store. Swag. This is our swag. This is with the affiliate link. So just use that link. Go to visit our store, and you can see all the amazing swag. We have 2 designers. We have Z, which is our senior designer, well, lead designer, and Dahlia is our senior designer. So there you go. And just go there and get swag. I don't even visit it too often, because when I do, I walk away getting stuff. So I'm trying not to go in and visit too much, but it's amazing things are happening in there. So it's great. We're also on Binge Books. Thanks. We got different links. Yes, go on Binge Books. Please, this is just supporting us, following us. You go to Binge Books and you follow me, follow the books, and then you can leave reviews. And what they do is they just create social proof, so it helps the books. Okay. Let's see what else we have. This is the commercial. We gotta pay for our sponsors. BookBub. We're on BookBub. Again, same thing. Let's just grow the numbers there as well. If you can follow us there. And this is the BookBub link and the website. At the website, this is the website, orlandoasanchez.com. It's really simple. You go there, you could find, there's 3 free stories that are the kind of prequels to stories that you're familiar with, that I wrote so long ago. I think I have to kind of update those, but we had new covers done, and the stories are really good. And I read the stories recently, and I got caught up in the story. It was fantastic. You go there, you get signed books, so you can get your signed books and get your audiobooks there as well, because all our audiobooks are on our website, and we're up to book 17, and we're going to be working on book 18 soon. So before you guys start asking, I know the questions are coming. We'll be working on 18 soon. And on top of our own website, we have our wiki page, which Paige and Jeanette are working on. Let me see if we have this is it. Yeah, this is the wiki. Go there. If you have some information that you would like to see on that page, I think there's various ways you could do it. I think you can add it yourself. I'm not certain on this, so don't quote me. Or you can contact Paige or Jeanette, and they can add it for you. But I think each person can add it. So there you go. And that's all our announcements. Wow, those were a lot of shout outs today. Okay, we also have our Patreon people. So in Patreon, we have wait, let me get to the books right now real quick. Let me just finish the shout outs, Chris. Thank you. We have Jim Cougar, who joined our patrons, and Peter Griffin and Suma both upgraded the tiers. So thank all of you to amazingness that you guys have done, and you go above and beyond helping out the author of the books, and getting the stories out there. So thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate it. You guys are amazing. This is the link to the wiki. Yes, they both, and here's the link. Yeah, either way works. Paige is here. Hello, Paige. I didn't see you come in because I was doing the announcements. So either way works. Contacting Paige or Jeanette, or adding yourself if you can. I guess at some point I should add some stuff. I do have an inside track on what happens in there. Okay. This is our Patreon page. For those of you who would like to find exclusive stories in Patreon for our stuff. So there's a lot. Wow. It just seems like a lot today. That's our page. And I don't know, that's not a link. Where's the link to Patreon? Do we have a Patreon link somewhere? I'm looking for it. Can we have a Patreon link? It's somewhere around here. It'll be here. It'll be up shortly. So yeah, so we go on Patreon. That's right. We'll get it. We'll get it. Dolly's coming swinging in with a link. Thank you, Dolly. That's a link for Patreon. So teamwork makes the dream work, right? So just go there, join our Patreon, and then you get exclusive stories. Where I don't know how many stories we're up to. I need to. What number are we up to? Do we know? I keep asking. 15. So there's 15 exclusive stories, and the last story, which is called The Bureau, right? We named it The Bureau, if I'm not mistaken, is broken up in. It's a serial story, not a serial killer story. A serial story. So you're gonna have an episode on like September, an episode October, an episode November, and an episode December. So we're breaking it up into episodes. So I don't know if they're cliffhangers, but it's going to be broken up that way. We're just trying it out to see what it's like, because maybe we can start doing serial stories on Patreon as well. So, and that's it for everything that's happening in all the other stuff. Okay. Wow, that was a lot. All right, so let me give you quick updates. Well, first of all, this Java and jumpstart the brain. Okay. So quick updates. Right now, I am in the middle, deep in Shield Bearer, which is the next Monty and Strong. And this is kind of the Monty and Strong that everyone is waiting for in the terms of Simon finally getting his act together. It starts in this book. It begins in this book. So I'm going to tell you right now. Oh, wait. Before I get deep into this conversation, we support our indie authors. So John Logsdon released a book, Shell Shocked. So go get this one. It's the San Diego Paranormal Police Department. So please go get this book. Is that book 2? I think, yeah, it is book 2. It says it right there. It's book 2 in the last trilogy that he released. It's a collab, and it's another PPD trilogy. So go get that. And Nicole Grotepas has Awaken Witch, which is the Lightbeard School for the Broken. That is a great title, Chris. And that's a part of the Duo Operatives, Retired Book 1. So it's Delta Underground Operatives Retired Book 1. So I guess it's another branch of Duo, because they have several authors writing in this world. So please go get those books. We support our indie authors. The Nicole Grotepas books comes out on Sunday, and John's Shell Shocked is already out, if I'm not mistaken. So just go grab them, and let's support our indie authors, because that is what we do. All right, we're hiding this. Both those links should be in the mob. Okay. What was I? All right, so I am deep in Shield Bearer. Like deep. Today's the 27th, so I'm aiming to have it done really soon. Like this is the soon TM, like really, really soon. I'll put it to you like this. I am about 40-something thousand words in already, and the book is only about 60K, 60, maybe 65K. And the remaining 25K is a fight. Between Monty, Simon, and the emissary that's part of this book. So I'm going to tell you right from now so that you're ready. This book is going to continue into the next, what is it? Wait, we have Saints into the next, this story. This is like another one of those, like, one of those, what is it? The Matryoshka doll? What is it called? Mm-hmm. Matrushka doll. So this is a story within the story, right? So this story is going to continue into the next story. I don't know if it continues afterwards, but I'm pretty sure it's going to continue into Saints and Monks, which is the next story where Monty kind of gets an upgrade with Master Yacht, and they have to go to his mountain, and they have to get training, but they kind of have to stay alive while that's happening. So the whole story, so the action that starts in this story, the action that's starting right now, 25,000 words left to this story, continues for the whole next story. So not a cliffhanger, but a serious hill hugger. And you guys are going to hate me, but it's got to happen that way because that's the way the story is developing. It wasn't going to be that way. It was going to be like finished in this story. Too many things happened in this story. There was a whole scene with, not scene, there was a whole section with Kali. Then there was another section with Ezra. Then there was another section with Simon getting smacked awake. And all these things had to happen. So if it didn't happen, the next story wouldn't make much sense. And the next one, Saints and Monks, which is book 26, if I'm not mistaken, that's a story that you really is not a standalone. That one you really can't read. I mean, at this point, none of them are standalone, but that one is really like you're jumping in right from Shield Bearer. Shield Bearer jumps right into Saints and Monks, and it's basically, I will give you some moments to catch your breath, but not many. It's basically one of these. There was a movie that was like this. One of the Daniel Craig Bond movies where he starts off running off a building and things are chasing him and everything's exploding and it's like you can't catch your breath with this movie. It's basically like, it wasn't Casino Royale. I think it was another one, the second one. But it was one of the Daniel Craig ones. And the whole movie was basically him just running for his life, fighting guys, running for his life, fighting guys. So Saints and Monks basically is that. It basically starts in Shield Bearer and it just takes off. So consider that you're like in an F5. What's the newest one? F-35. You're taking off in Shield Bearer and you're gonna hit some, and you're just gonna go airborne in Saints and Monks, and we're not landing till the end of Saints and Monks. So Hill Hugger, basically Shield Bearer, but it's a necessary one. And the way it's written, Hill Hugger, that's the next title. The way it's written, Shield Bearer, it feels like a slower book because it is a slower book. There's a lot of stuff that's happening, but it's a lot slower. But it's kind of hit that point where most of the slowness has happened, and now it's just like, whoa, it's gonna be, because the emissary in this one is not like the emissary from the last one. The emissary from the last one was kind of a typical emissary, like, bad guy, go kill Simon, go kill Monty, and come back for lunch kind of thing. This emissary, wait a minute, I think I have. All right, so I'm gonna share this with you. This is like an exclusive, a Monty and Strong exclusive. Okay, this is what the emissary says because I get these things and I have to write them down or else I'm not going to remember them, right? So this is what the emissary says when she meets Monty and Simon. You guys ready? This is like an exclusive. No one, not even Dolly has seen this one yet. All right, here we go. And I can't tell you her name, but you'll get all of this inside the book, inside Shield Bearer. It goes, so she says, so they meet up. It's like, the way they meet up is even interesting too, but she finally has a moment to speak. And she goes, don't you know why they sent me? Because I am inevitable and single-minded of purpose. I am the only emissary that fills their heart with dread. They sent me because they fear me and hope that you would do what they lack the will to do. They sent me to kill you or die in the process. Ooh, I got chilled. Even just reading that one, I was like, whoa, I got scared. Like, oh, this is not a usual emissary. Okay, so that's basically what's happening with Shield Bearer, and you've been warned. So I haven't written a true cliffhanger since book 3. Was the actual cliffhanger. This one, Shield Bearer, it's not a cliffhanger because it doesn't leave you guys like wondering what happens to them. You guys start knowing what's gonna come in the next book, and I think this book we could do the chapter at the end so people don't get too upset, like the chapter of Saints and Monks. So in this book, what I'm gonna do, because the story continues, I'm going to add the first chapter from Saints and Monks, and we'll see how everything reacts, algorithms and everything. I'm going to add chapter 1 from Saints and Monks. I used to do that way back in the beginning when I was writing, and then Amazon got kind of pissy about it, and they started saying that authors were padding the books, so we kind of all stopped doing it. But in this book, I'm going to add chapter 1 of Saints and Monks because Yeah, you guys are gonna want it. Yeah, the whole book, Chris. The whole book is gonna be like these guys. Monty and Simon are not gonna breathe. It's like wow. So yeah, the whole book is like that. All right. So let me get those. That's the updates for Shield Bearer. Patreon, the story part 1 or episode 1. I guess we can call them episodes. They're like cases. So episode 1. Episode 1 for Shield Bearer will be at the end of this month, and then episode 2 next month, and episode 3 the next month, and episode 4 the next month, and so forth and so on. And Stone, I have Stone already kind of formed and it's already started, so I have to really jump into that, which I will do after Shield Bearer because it's a lot of fun. So look, I don't know about Dolores Umbridge, but yeah, Master Yada's is the next book, and it's gonna be that's why it's called Saints and Monks. But whoa, what happens in that book? There's a lot of stuff that's been leading to what's coming, and it starts to unravel now. And so yeah, and Simon doesn't have the luxury of being, I'm not a mage, I don't know what's going on, what's happening. No, although he sounded like Seinfeld then. Simon Seinfeld, but he can't be like that. He can't be like, I'm not a mage, I don't know what happened, what's going on, what this whole world is just. No, he's got to get it together now. So Callie bounced him a few times just to kind of knock it into his head. So that's what's happening. All right, but let me say hi to all the people who came in while I was reading the announcements. Let's see. Hello, Paige. If I miss your name, I do apologize. I'm sorry. Enid, hello. I know I say hello. Dolly, hello. Anthony Hudson, hello, Anthony. Hello, Thor. Welcome. Let's see who else is here. Heather's here. All right. So if I missed you, I apologize, but hello and welcome to the Kaffeeklatsch. There's 17 of you. I don't know if I've said 17 hellos, but hello, everyone, and welcome. I saw some questions here. Let me see if I can catch them again. Thor was asking, will we ever know any more backstories on Strong? Yes. Book 28, which is called Deadeye. Actually, yeah, Deadeye and Nemesis are really, really Simon focused, like more than even Shieldbearer. Deadeye brings Simon's past up to the present. It comes back. And Nemesis is when Simon ends up dealing with an ex marked of Kali who's alive. And that is going to be interesting. So that's book 28 and book 29. And then book 30 is named Chaos Rising. And that title should tell you everything. No, not yet, Thor. There have been no coins in the process of being made yet. We haven't really touched upon it because we have so many of the first set that we haven't gone to the second set. Let's see who else is here. Joe is here. Hello, Joe. Welcome. And Wendy. Hello, Wendy. Welcome. Welcome to the Kaffeeklatsch. So you guys can ask questions about Shieldbearer. I cannot answer most of them probably, but if you have questions, I can definitely do my best to answer them without spoiling it for you. I do not want to spoil it for you, especially because of the way this one's ending. You guys are I know I'm gonna get the target board with my picture on it, a bunch of knives. He ended the book, and still, it's not resolved. So yeah. So feel free to ask me questions. I will do my best to try and answer the questions. And I will certainly, definitely add chapter 1 of Saints and Monks to Shieldbearer, to the end of Shieldbearer, just for you guys, because I know what it's like. I'm currently reading King of Avalon by Steve McHugh. If you haven't read the Hellquinn Chronicles, do yourself a favor and pick up the Hellquinn Chronicles. Can we get a link for the Hellquinn? The first one is, I don't know what it is, but the first one, Steve McHugh. We'll get a link for it. Dolly will get us the link real quick. I'm currently reading The King of Avalon, and I'm reading it super slow because I know right now, excuse me, it's the last book. It's 5 out of 5. And it's like, I want to read it, but I don't want to read it. And I want to read it, but I don't want to read it. And so I'm reading it slow. But I know that I have the whole Mistborn series to fall back on once I've finished King of Avalon. And that's nice and big. It's like 7 books, but it's 7 Sanderson books. And those things are like tomes. So that'll be fun. And he has great world building. So I'll do that. And there's a lot of Sanderson to read, so that's also good. Has Uncle Dex adopted Strong? Pretty much, I would say by now he's adopted him in the sense of that he considers him family, but things are gonna get dicey about 2 books from now, and they're making. I think Monty mentioned something about adopting Cece because of what? Oh, because of her upcoming test. That if something goes wrong, Cece will be exiled, and so Simon's like, so what? We'll take her in. She can stay with us, right? That kind of thing, and there's a lot of complication with that. So it gets touched upon in this story, but that starts coming up to the surface later on in a few books. So yeah, King of Avalon has been really fun so far, but I'm reading it. So no spoilers, but I'm reading it super slow only because one, I really love the character of Mordred. He's a great character, and Remy. Of course, any book that Remy's in, it's like Peaches. Remy is awesome. I'm a little sad that Nate is not in the beginning of the book, but Mordred is there, and that's just as good because his characters are like, it's like having Simon and Monty, Here's a link to, what book is this, baby? King of Avalon?
To the first
Crimes Against Magic. So that's the link. That's the Amazon link to Crimes Against Magic. Okay, so if you haven't picked up the Stephen Q, the Stephen Q, the Helquin Chronicles, that's the link to get Crimes of Magic, which is the first book in that series. It has a few full-length books and then a bunch of like 2 or 3 short stories, and even King of Avalon is considered a novella. So go get that and have a lot of reading to. It's a lot of fun. All right, I'm gonna take this off, but there's the link, guys. Okay. All right. So yeah. So if you have any questions about Shield Bearer or what's happening in that story, please don't feel like you can't ask. You can ask. The thing is that I may not be able to answer as forthrightly as I want to, because and it's also in KU. Fantastic. So go to KU and pick it up. Really, it's worthwhile. And again, we support our he's an indie writer, even though he went trad at one point, but he's in the UK. But Steve is also an indie writer. So yes. Will the successor storyline continue? Yes. No, it doesn't end with it kind of. So what it does with Dira, I can't say too much about what happens with Dira, but it kind of ends with Dira and continues in Nemesis. So it ends with Dira before we get to book 29, and then it re-enters, I guess, or resurfaces in Nemesis. Because in Nemesis, the Nemesis himself, it's an ex-marked of Kali who wants the title back. And so it's going to be like that. And so Dira's line is going to end. I'm not going to tell you what happens to her, but that section ends of the successors, and then another section begins with the Nemesis, and it's going to be major. That one's going to be major. Yeah, but Dira's a pretty awesome character. You okay with it? So, but just to give a little bit more about Dira, so you know it's a little bit bigger nugget. She's gonna wish that she had killed Simon before, because now Simon, after Shield Bearer and Saints and Monks, is gonna be an upgraded Simon, and that's gonna be a lot harder to face. So yeah. Joe, the next Wanda book, and thank you for asking, is called, what is it, Divine? Is it Divine Hell? Divine Hell. It's looking to be, if I get to it this year, it's looking to be the end of this year. Wander holds the Night Warden books hold a really special place in my heart, and because it's so awesome, and I still don't understand how people don't pick up those covers just for the sake of the cover, because the covers are ridiculously awesome. But it's the only series that I write that takes it out of me when I write the books. Like, it's the only series that I need to recover from, Wander. I don't know why. I think it has to do with my affinity for Gray, because he's the character that I'm most aligned with in terms of as a character. But I love Wander. Wander's awesome. Wander's like the best. And Divine Hell is the next book to be written. I already have the outline, so it's not like it's going to be hard. I just have to kind of clear off the clear the decks a little bit and make a little scooch in a little and make the space for Gray and company, because Coda's growing in power. Gray has to have a reluctant conversation with his sword and the goddess within the sword, and people are coming for them because he's a threat. Even though he's not the last warden anymore, he's the last warden that's at his level, and so it's gonna be interesting. But I just have to make the time for it. That's all. But yes, Night Warden is never far from my schedule, because I can see it on the schedule, and it's never far from my mind, because Night Warden is a direct product of Monty and Strong. And if you look at the stories, Gray makes a lot of cameo appearances. He's always kind of like popping in. And what book was he in? No, there were a few, but he was in the Rule of the Council. Oh, he was a lot of fun in the Rule of the Council. Like, Gray is like the cranky old mage that's just kind of tired. And wasn't Gray an outcast? Gray was an outcast? I forget. They start blurring after. Wow. Was Gray an outcast? No? Yeah, they went to the abyss. Yeah, you're getting like me. Was that an outcast? They all get jumbled. Yeah, Gray was an outcast. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, Gray was an outcast and had a nice part in Outcast where he helped out, Monty and Simon. So he's never far away from the main story, but he's having his own situation start coming to a head because of taking in Coda and accepting the blade that he did. His life is getting really complicated.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad it came. It dawned on you.
Yes.
Yeah. Anthony's asking me a question. I say, all of the main characters in your series have amazing vehicles. What are the chances of a short story with a cannonball runs? That would be cool. I don't know if I would actually do it. That would, maybe. I won't say no, because the vehicles are just amazing. The problem is, a cannonball run style means that there are no rules. It's just basically Fast and Furious for us now, right? Because before Fast and Furious, we had Cannonball Run. Everybody thinks everything is new until you realize that it's not. So it would be interesting, maybe to build like a new wing of Haven or something like that, and just have a race across the city with like traps and like something that Cecil would design. We can call it like the Sunatron run, the annual Sunatron run, and then have like a cup or something that they would win. That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. And it would be so much fun that Cecil would allow people to mod their cars, to bring their cars in for specific mods just for that race, and then have the race and see who wins. And that would be great, because none of the cars are really going to get damaged anyway, because they've all been ruined, to an inch of their lives. So that would be fun. I think something I would consider. Remind me when I find the 8th day. But I think that's a great idea. That's a lot of fun. That's something like a Christmas story or something like that. That's what it would be like, for sure. And it would be like a short story. There are a lot of cars too in the series, that I would have to keep track of, and I've researched all these cars, so they all have different capabilities, different strengths, and different speeds, and it would almost be unfair to put some of these cars up against each other, because some of these cars are just ridiculously amazing. Like, the one that's near and dear to my heart would be the Camaro that Gray drives. But then you have Sebastian's Lincoln, which is a tank. And, we're not going to forget about the GOAT. And so there are so many cars that are just so amazing. It would be a good short story, for sure. And how do you get these cars out of the race? There has to be a way to get them out. Yeah, the cars would have to be personally modded, and it would have to be adapted specifically for the race. Yeah. A Mortal Kombat. No, see, that would be a little. That would be. See, the characters in the stories wouldn't fight each other like in the same world. Like Monty wouldn't fight Gray unless it was like they got to end him because Gray lost his mind and the sword took over. It wouldn't. They can't do a Mortal Kombat type story for that world because there's too much at stake. You know, it's a great idea, but I can't justify them fighting each other, even if it's like a tournament for to save the world. It's too Mortal Kombat. You know, I like the story, but I'm not writing that one. That one's just one. It's overdone. Two, I grew up with Mortal Kombat, and so it's like, yeah, you know. So yeah, jump portals. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm not gonna expand on a race story when I have so many stories to write. So a short story with something else would be doing. Yeah, Monty versus TK. That's not even. You have to understand that when Monty did the reckoning with TK, TK wasn't using all of her power. TK was barely using most of her power, and she wrecked Monty. And even though Monty has gone through changes, you have to understand that TK's apprenticeship was with Bab Katha, and so you can't rematch. Then two different leagues completely. So that's not even a rematch. It's just asking for pain. You might as well ask Monty to fight Dex. It's kind of the same thing in the sense of, you know, has no chance. You know, so yeah, there are some beings that it wouldn't even make sense to have them fight because it would be so lopsided. It's nice to think about. The better thing would be to create a group of enemies or a mage that would require TK, LD, and some of the 10 to step in to actually confront this mage. That would outclass Monty and Simon by orders of magnitude that you would need the 10 to step in. And we're getting close to that. Like the caliber of enemies is getting harder. And I'm trying to do it without power creep because I don't want them to become gods. So we're getting close in the sense of creating enemies that are just a little bit too much for Monty and Simon to handle. And so they kind of see these enemies and they realize, okay, we got to get stronger. And so that's what's happening. But it would be good to kind of have an enemy just appear and be just too powerful for them. That would like stand up to the midnight echelon and not break a sweat, you know? Oh yeah, the 10 is still on the schedule because in the midst of Shield Bearer and in the midst of Saints and Monks, in the mix of all of that, there's still the 10 initiation that's going on. That's in the background. So you saw how Elaine and Emmerich handled Monty and Simon. Like Elaine just took them apart. They've got to get stronger. It has to happen. And so one of the ways to do that is to become part of the 10. But you can imagine that an initiation into the 10 isn't just taking a written test and okay, you're good, and you get your little 10 license. Okay, it's gonna be work. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be difficult. And you know, even if they get to be part of the 10, it's gonna be really, really hard for them to be even to be in the 10 and then to stay in the 10. It's gonna be hard. So Dex is getting a standalone. Okay, so Dex is getting a little fun story with Nana, and it's called Old Magic. I think it's called Old Magic. I don't know what it is. It's Old Mages or Old Magic. I have it somewhere. I know because I know there's other stories that have Old Magic as the title, so I don't want to. It could be running around in my head, but it's a Nana and a Dex story, and it's a story of them two very old mages going on an adventure together, and just it's a fun story, you know. So that's what's happening with Dex. He's getting but Dex is also getting a story called The Last One, and that focuses more on the school of battle magic that he's been kind of, I don't want to say creating, that he's kind of starting. And so that's where you're gonna have a lot of these grumpier older mages. That's where you're gonna have a lot of that story, The Last One, allows it to be a vehicle to introduce new characters where you could have your kind of more to combat situations, or I'm better than you are. Who do you think you are? And it allows me to introduce character that you may not have seen before within the context of that school. And having Dex and the Morrigan, having Monty and Simon as instructors, so they're kind of in the background. And these other characters like Peanut and Cece and their friends start to take the foreground, and they become the center of that story because it's in the context of the school and things that happen within the school. And so that one, the last one, is basically the School of Battle Magic and what happens in that school and the adventures that don't. It's going to be focused on the students, so it'll be fun. That'll be fun. Yeah, the 10 is like the 20x the Navy says. Yeah, it's insane. So, and it takes a long time. It doesn't just happen and you graduate. It takes a long time. Are there actually 10 members of the 10? No, there are actually 10 members. And if Monty and Simon become part of the 10, I think it becomes more than 10, and then it just becomes a title. But there are actually 10. When I created the 10, and I did create the 10, and they do have their own series. I just haven't started it, but I do have it. There are 10 members within the 10. And so it's just a matter, again, it's like the Night Warden. Although the Night Warden actually gets their stories done. It's just that it takes longer. The 10 hasn't had a story done yet. They've been introduced as characters, but they haven't had a story written about them, because you have to think about the 10 as things that happen that do not involve Monty or Simon or that part of the world directly. These are things that happen behind the scenes that no one really knows about, because the 10 can't let people know about it. Think about, they're like the Black Ops of the mage world. And so when the 10 are on a job or on a mission, no one knows. But if they mess up, the only way anyone finds out is if they mess up, because then people are going to die. A lot of people are going to die, Yeah, so the 10 are kind of like walk-ons. They come in, they do what they got to do, and they leave. So they're going to have their stories, but their stories are going to be independent in the sense of Monty and Strong, because even though they're set in the same world, the 10's missions are basically, everything is, if we mess this up, everybody dies, kind of thing. It's like when you call Delta Force or SEAL Team 6. You don't hear about the missions that they do that are successful. You only hear about the ones where people die and things get messed up. That's the way it's supposed to be. So we're gonna have a few missions. We're gonna go on some missions with them, and you're gonna get to see them kind of in action. It's gonna be awesome. But I just have to write it. That's all. Monty and Simon are the introduction to this world. Like, you go in like this, right? But then there's so many different, areas, pockets, branches. Will we ever see some of the other guys? Yes. I don't know about Zeus yet. Hades is kind of keeping Simon a little bit more to himself. Hades has an agenda. What a surprise. But yeah, you're going to see, because of the Valkyrie, Odin will be making an appearance later on, because the only reason the Valkyrie are working with Hades, and if you really search your memory, you'll realize that Hel made an appearance really early on at Ezra's. She's the one that gave Simon the flask, right? So the other gods are there, but the other gods have to be like spice. You can't use too much of them. Odin will make an appearance for sure because of the Valkyries and what's happening. There's some things that are happening behind the scenes, right? In Kali's pantheon, there are gods that still have to appear. Like Shiva is not dead; he is just thwarted, so he'll be making an appearance soon. There are a few other gods. Like if you think about Ursula and her hammer is like kind of like a Mjolnir, but it's a different god from a different pantheon that she managed to kind of borrow from a god. And so there are gods kind of hanging in the background. They're interspersed in different areas, and they'll start popping up here and there. But the gods kind of have to be really careful about how they interact with things, because they can tip the balance of things. So yeah. So to answer you, that was a long-winded way of saying yes, Joe. You'll see other gods, and the gods are busy. They're doing things, and they have their own agendas, their own plans, their own machinations, and they're kind of putting things here and there. And so, yeah, they're doing their own thing. Anthony says, so does the 10 provide a balance against the various other? Yes, they do, because when you think about the 10, I don't know if it's in this book, it's an outcast. They're the ones that were outcast from various sects, right? Gotta be careful with that word. From various groups, they were thrown out, and they kind of formed a group of outcasts. So they're an outcast group of outcasts, but they're so powerful that they're a considerable check and balance to the other mage groups. And so yes, people who know about the 10, because not everyone knows about them, the ones who know about them respect them and do not want them involved in anything because they know how dangerous they could be. I was thinking of Perun, but I have to keep away from some of the gods that other authors have used or introduced them differently, because I believe Kevin Hearn used Perun page, so I kind of have to be careful how I use certain gods too. Loki, Thor, Loki, Coyote, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is not appearing. I do not want to get sued. Thor, Loki, and Coyote. I can see Coyote being part, but Thor and Loki, I'd rather use Odin, because Odin isn't as used as Thor and Loki. And Odin to me is, if I'm going to use a Norse god like that, I would use Odin, because Odin signifies the head of the group, and I can do so much more with Odin as opposed to Thor and Loki. Like, we can go into why he gave up an eye for wisdom. We can go into maybe someone takes his spear, things like that. But I have to be careful with Odin as well, because he's such a known god, and because other authors have used them. So I have to be careful on how I treat them. Yes, I know who Perun is. Yeah, he's been used by Kevin Hearn. He was used as an alternate Thor. So I have to be careful about who uses what god where and how they did it. Not because I don't want to use them, but because I want to use them in a way that makes them distinct from how they've been used in the past. So I have to be really careful about that. Can't just throw gods into the mix, which is why I've been really careful with just using Hades, because Hades is a very unique type god in terms of the mythos. And he's going to appear in this story too, in Shieldbearer, because they're already in Greece. And it's already, I can't tell you anymore. I don't want to give the story away. But yeah, they have to go to somewhere. It's like half my conversation is redacted. It has to be like redacted. All right, I'm gonna get to questions to save myself and get myself out of trouble, because it's already 12:20. All right, here we go. Questions. So our question queen has kept her streak going. Audrey has a question. Several. Her usual, she has 3. So I'm gonna start with Audrey. Yeah, if I need a Gene Simmons is an excellent guy. I grew up with Gene Simmons. All right, here we go. Audrey's first question, Orlando. What is the most interesting thing you know about your family history? The most interesting thing I know about my family history, I cannot say online. So, but let's just say it's whoa. If you really, 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 really want to know, I could share with you in PMs, but I cannot share it online. It's yeah, it's dicey. All right, Dolly, how did you meet Orlando? That's another one that you can't share online. No, go ahead.
We met at Starbucks.
Starbucks, Barnes and Noble. It's a Starbucks, so it's perfect when you think about it, right? Starbucks. I don't know if is this still there?
No.
It's gone.
It's gone.
The Barnes and Noble is with the Starbucks, is it?
Oh, I don't care about Starbucks.
The Barnes and Noble was awesome. On Austin Street in New York City, there used to be, it's gone now. There used to be a Starbucks with there used to be a Barnes and Noble with a Starbucks inside. Like, you didn't have to go outside for it. You would go to Barnes and Noble, and you can go right down the aisle into a Starbucks. Talk about perfect. So you would just go to Barnes and Noble, get some books, and then you could go right to Starbucks. It was inside. It was an actual full-size Starbucks inside the Barnes and Noble, and that's where we met. It was awesome. Yes. And when I saw her, I was like, that's the one. And there you go. All right. And it was a nice sunny day. And then we went to eat at a restaurant nearby on that day. It was fantastic. Okay. Next question. How difficult I hope that answers your question, Audrey. Dolly doesn't like to talk about that too much. It's like classified. How difficult is it to make and stick to a writing schedule? If you have been part of Story September, if you've seen people this month, you got a little taste of what it's like to have a writing schedule. It's hard. It's hard because you've got to fit the stories. The stories. You've got to fit the writing into life, and not the other way around. You can't fit life around your writing. You've got to fit the writing into your life. It has to be part of your life. When you do it the other way around, things get lopsided and you start neglecting stuff. So it's hard because you've got to be disciplined about it. If you really want to write a story, the best way, and again, this is my own personal experience, so it's not law, but from what I've seen, not just from me, but from other writers as well, the best way to do it is to train your brain at X o'clock every day. I sit down for 20 minutes and write. Doesn't matter what time. You could be a nocturnal writer, and that could be 3 o'clock in the morning for you, or 2 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter what time. But if you could train your brain that at this time every day, I sit down and I write for 20 minutes, 2 hours, whatever the time is, you set the parameters. That is what I found to be one of the best ways to keep a writing schedule. The other way, which is kind of like the nomad Bedouin, wanderer way, is I walk around with my phone, or I walk around with a pad and pencil, and whenever an idea hits me, I write it down no matter where I am. That is another way of doing it. And there are people who swear by that way. Like, as soon as I have an idea, I have to write it down. And you'll see people, I need a paper. Give me a paper. Yeah, okay. And they always have a pen, and they write down their idea, and then they take the idea with them. So both ways work. The key is to get the ideas from here onto something, some kind of capture tool that you can go back and flesh out the idea. But sticking to a schedule, if you've tried to stick to a schedule of anything, whether it be writing, exercise, whatever the case may be, as I do the same thing when I train in the morning, and I don't want to get up at 3:45. I'm like, 3:45, I hate that. You get up anyway, and you do what you got to do. It's hard. It's not easy. You don't wake up at, as far as I know, aside from my sister, who I like to harass, I don't know anyone else who wakes up at the time that I wake up to go train with joy in their heart. It's usually they give me a good dose of cursing and a few choice words, especially if we have, like, I got to call you to get you up. Yeah, you're not going to be happy about it. Trust me, because I'm going to call you until you get up. So I've done that with my sister a few times, but she's the only one that I've done that with. But yes, it's hard. I hope that answers your question, Audrey. It's hard. But it's doable, because if it weren't doable, we wouldn't have books in this world. So it's definitely possible. You just have to be willing to have the discipline to stick to that schedule. Whatever that schedule is for you, you have to make it work for you and for your brain and for your way of writing. And then you can get it done. You just don't make excuses. Just do it. Just do it. Every day at 3 o'clock, I'm going to write 20 minutes. Okay, that's your schedule. Every day at 3 o'clock, you stop whatever you're doing, you write for 20 minutes. End of story. Great questions, Audrey. Thank you. Chris Chrisman, next question. Did you ever play 3D chess from Star Trek? Yes. I used to have a set when I was much younger. It was awesome. Awesome, I say. My friends didn't know how to play it. I had only one friend who knew how to play it. And he went on to work for the NSA. That goes to show you, my friend. So, but yeah, it was fantastic. And there were actual books with moves. There were chess books with moves for 3D chess. So but it's not outside of the Star Trek world. It's not much in favor now. It's like a very nerdy thing. But yeah, definitely 3D chess was, when I first saw it on Star Trek, I was like, oh, I have to have that. That's awesome. What is that? What? So yeah. Have I ever been to Coney Island? Many, many, many times. Yes. I grew up going to Coney Island when I was younger. Even my little ones have gone to Coney Island many times with their mom. So yes, Coney Island's fun, especially in the summer, because I think Luna Park is there now, right? Luna Park is at Coney Island? Yeah. It's like an amusement park is there. So Coney Island is nice. Yeah. Okay. Benna asked the question. Wow, I haven't seen a question from Benna. What is the biggest prank you ever played? It always centered around Halloween. So you can imagine. There's eggs involved, there's shaving cream, there's toilet paper. Let's see. There's egg wars in the middle of the night. things that don't happen anymore because it's just too dangerous. But those were the biggest pranks. I was never a very good prankee. I was always a good pranker. I just didn't take them too well, so I just stopped doing them after a while because a lot of people don't appreciate them, and I was never a big fan of being pranked. So I kind of stopped it. Yeah. And when you stop pranking, people stop pranking you because they realize, let's not prank him. No. And then after I started martial arts, we really stopped pranking me because then I would start beating up people. So no, no more pranking. um, that's a great question, Bella. I haven't thought about pranks in a long, long time. I play little pranks, but nothing major. Um, Anthony Hudson asks, is there another author's universe that you would like to write in? MS in the Shire or Dex Battling Wolf? No, no. I don't collaborate well. And it took me a collaboration to discover that. I had a universe that I did write in, which is John Logsdon's PPD. I wrote the Badlands in there. And great stories. I had a whole bunch of fun. It was so much fun. But my brain doesn't collaborate well. I don't know why. Maybe if it was like the way Brandon Sanderson did Wheel of Time, where he didn't collaborate, but he just wrote in that universe. But then here's what my brain says: for me to write in someone else's universe, then you go dot dot dot. Just write in your own. Write in your own universe. Create another area of your universe and expand there and write there. So that's how my brain works. For me to write in someone else's universe, I'd rather create my own section of my universe and just grow it and then right there. I've done that. You got Nixia, you've got Porter and Bug. I've created other universe, I've created other areas to write in because it's infinite if you're an author. Literally infinite. If you can think it up and flesh it out and create it, you can do it. So why would I want to write in someone else's universe if I can write in my own? Now, are there characters I love to see? Yeah, I love to see variations on Batman, of course, because every person brings their own characteristic to it. But then that says a lot about a lot of Marvel DC characters. I like stories. Um, there's some areas you leave alone, like the Shire. I would not mess around with Tolkien's world at all because they've already tried it. And don't get me started on Rings of Power. They already started and burned it to the ground. So no, there's some worlds I just wouldn't attempt. That's all. But no, I don't really have that desire to say, I want to write in this world. What I did when I first started writing, and I was reading, what was I reading? Dresden, right? I was reading Dresden. I said, I could do this. And that's what I did. I could write something like this. I didn't say I could write something better than this because I wasn't that arrogant. But I was arrogant enough to think I could do it. And my first attempts were horrible. And you will never see them. But yeah. But no, I would never write another world, another creator's world. Like, I guess if George Lucas gave me permission to write, Star Wars is just amazing. But even then, it would be I would find that so daunting to write in that world. I really would. Yeah. Okay. Chris has one more question. Oh, will your Be Uncommon shirts be available in the Zazzle? Those shirts I just picked up from Amazon. So anyone can get Be Uncommon shirts. But I'm making them famous little by little, one short at a time. I'm making the Be Uncommon shirts famous. So you can definitely, I definitely endorse the fact that you should pick up a Be Uncommon shirt and be uncommon because it's just awesome. I agree. I totally agree. But yeah, those are not in the Zazzle store. Those are just regular shirts that I just picked up from Amazon. I said, I need something that says Be Uncommon. I didn't even know it existed, but I should have known better. And so when I went to look for them, they were there. They were. And I have two kinds now. Let me see if I can find other kinds that just say Be Uncommon. And maybe we'll design a Montine Strong Be Uncommon shirt. That would be in the Zazzle store. Maybe like one with peaches in it. And that would say Be Uncommon, meat is life, things like that. For sure. All right, let's see. Yeah, short sheeting was never fun. My Valkyries would not appreciate short sheeting in the morning when they have to go to school. I'd get that eye daggers if I tried something like that. Yeah. Thank you so much for the question, guys. You guys, it's awesome to have these questions, and they make the show so much more fun. So I really appreciate all the questions. Let's see what I see. If I need a thunder god, yes. Gene Simmons for sure page. Routine is key to writing output. Yes, routine is so key. It really is important. It is. I have this great program called Pacemaker, I believe. If I'll put the link up in the mouth for the authors. But it's a great program for authors to keep track of your quotas, however you want to set them up. And I'll put it in. I'm gonna put it in Story September, but I'm also gonna put it in the mob for the authors. Yeah, harmless but endlessly annoying glitter. Yeah, my daughters play with glitter. No thanks. Pass on the glitter. Oh, Chris. Yeah, if you get short sheeted all the time. So there you go. Yeah, so that's basically, regards to the question, in regards to the story. When there's this thing when you're reading a book and you're getting near the end, just to touch back on Shield Bearer, and you realize that not everything is resolved, that there's a certain feeling of dread that you're like, oh, the story looks like it's going to go a little longer than this book. And you're like, oh. So if you think you feel that as a reader, take that feeling, multiply it by 100, and that's when you get the author's feeling. Because it's rare for me to find an author that enjoys not finishing a story, even if it's in a series. So as authors, when we get to what we consider near the end of a book, and we realize some of these threads have to continue into the next book, like if you're writing a series, the threads always through the books. They go through all the books, right? But some of them are directly into the next book. Like it's not resolved in this story. You've got to continue to the next story. When you get to that point in a story, there's a cold dread that comes in. You're like, oh no, what's the matter? It's like, this story's going to go a little long. Or when you look at the date, like for me, because I have deadlines. So when I look at the date and I realize I'm not near the end yet, and it's almost the deadline that I impose, and it's not finished yet. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, that's when you start saying, okay, how do I do this? how do I fix this? And sometimes you can fix it. Sometimes you can kind of trim and adjust, but sometimes certain parts have to happen the way they happen, and that takes long, and you can't fix it, and you just got to keep going and keep adding to it. Yeah, Chris, like, yeah, how's that? How long is a short story? Short stories can be long. I think I've only written one short story that was a true short story, which was Iker the Cleaner, which was 10K. And I did that because I wanted to see if I could actually write a real short story, like considered a short story because of its length, right? And Iker the Cleaner is the only one I've written, I think, to my knowledge, to my immediate knowledge right now, to my memory, that's actually short story length. And then I wrote the other two, and the other two are much longer than 10K. But Iker's 10K. And I did that deliberately because can I do this? Because let me tell you, as an author, short stories are hard. They're so hard. Harder than novels, harder than anything else. For me, short stories are hard, which is why I try to do them often. No, not the outline. The short story itself, 10K. The whole story is 10K. Yeah, Grim. Yeah, Grim. Well, I'm not gonna get it. So one thing I don't do is I try not to get into other authors' writing styles, but I don't get into the authors who have taken long gaps in writing, because there are a lot of disgruntled readers, Patrick Rothfuss and Grimm and a few other authors who've just taken very long between books. And I don't have a leg to stand on, because Blur it's been 10 years between books, and Sepia was 4 years between two sets of books. So I don't have a leg to stand on in terms of that. Even though I was writing in between, there were stories that were paused for a long time. I'm not going to do that with Night Warden. Night Warden will get its story. And I've never done that with Mountain Strong. So there are some books that I haven't done it with, and some books that kind of, I don't want to say they fell off to the wayside, but they kind of, they had a hiatus, a little break. I gave the characters a little break. I don't mean the outline. No, Heather. I mean the actual story is 10K. Yeah, I've done stories like that. Oh, I think Saving Mr. K. I don't know if you guys read that short story. Saving Mr. K was a Christmas story. The only Christmas story I wrote that was short. That was really short. I don't know if it was 10K though, but it was short. So I've written some short stories, and I try to stick in between short story and novella length. I try to stick in. That's kind of where my shorter stories live, between short story and novella length. Yeah, I agree, Chris. Sometimes the characters need to simmer. What I've done with the longer story, with the full novels, is there'll be there'll be a day or two sometimes when I don't write anything because I'm working on something in the background, but also because some ideas need to develop and I need to let them sit and my brain needs to sort. And so I'm kind of like, the brain is sorting the idea, and then before you know it, I'm like, okay, I can get this done now. My next goal is to be able to write an epic, but I'm thinking something over 100K. The way my brain thinks, 100K, that's 2 books, so like that's that's a book and a half. But to write one book that's 100K, or one book that's 150K, that's a goal, to be able to write one story like that. I may do it with, I have a story that's kind of simmering in the background. That one might be worth going that far because it's very adult, it's darker material, and the characters have legs. The story has legs. So yes, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, Linda, I feel the same way sometimes. Like when I read Iker again, I guess for like the third or fourth time, I was just getting into it, and then it was over. I was like, oh. So I'm really happy that Iker has like 3 stories, so people can kind of get into the world and you get to learn more about Iker, and and Byako's in there too, so it's really fun. That one is it's going. The paranormal romance. I haven't stopped it because I do have to write it. Cold Front is next, and I already outlined it and it's ready. I think I have it here, down here. I have it somewhere. Yes, Cold Front is here. So yeah, but I'm thinking of maybe hitting one book that's really really long, but it's the thing about that is the time involved. I write fairly fast, and I can't see myself sticking with a book for 150 or 100K. It's just, again, my brain wants to segment it and break it into smaller books, like the story, like behind the Lord of the Rings. Tolkien wrote that all 3 books, not the Silmarillion, but the first Fellowship, Two Towers, Return of the King. They were all one book. It was one book. And his agent, I believe at the time, or the publisher, was like, you can't publish this as one book. We're gonna break this up. We're gonna break it up into the Fellowship, the Two Towers, Return of the King. And even then, those books are long. Could you imagine all of that? I'm sure they have some edition where all 3 books are one book. But could you imagine writing that as one book and keeping everything straight and creating a language and keeping track of all the characters and creating that map and going all over this world? Tolkien was amazing, So, yeah. Okay, so we're almost done. Oh, we are done. Jeez, this time goes by so fast. It's like I said, it's very different from the 5-minute creative warrior wisdom, because we can get comfortable, we can talk, I can actually drink some coffee, we can hang out and talk about different things, and I really like the part about having the comments, so we're interacting, which is a lot of fun. I'm going to ask you a favor. If you haven't yet, go visit the Creative Warrior Wisdom videos and leave a like and comment. Like, listen to them. They're short. No, really? Already, Chris? When is the 5-year? Let's find out what the 5-year anniversary is, if it hasn't passed already. And if it has passed, then we need to celebrate our 5-year anniversary. Wow, I can't believe 5 years have passed. That's amazing. All right, guys. Yeah. Take a moment out of your day, 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking for, 5 to 8 minutes, depending on the video. Go check out one of the CWW September 3rd. We're gonna have to make that like a special day for sure. We'll celebrate it at the end of this month, though. Somehow we'll do something. And go check out the shorts. They're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun for me to create, even though I think I'm half asleep half the time. I'm going to call them the Be Uncommon shorts soon. Have a great weekend. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for participating, for the questions, in the episode. You guys are fantastic. Anything that you've missed here, if there are links that you've missed here, they're going to be in the mob. Go visit our CWW. The shorts, I try to make them pithy and interesting and wise. Not that I'm that old yet, but I try to glean some wisdom from everything I've been through in life. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And above everything, be uncommon. So before we go, we got 13. I always remember this at the last minute. What? So 1 through 7, pick a number. The first 10 people. Go. Let's go. Quick. Have a great weekend, Heather. All right, we got 7, 4, 3. Come on, 10 people. We got 13 of us. So 7, 4, 5. See, 1, 2, 3. 4 more people. Come on, guys. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. 3 more people. It's almost there. I think 5 is in the lead. 5 is in the lead. Do I see 5? I see 5 in the lead. Start doing this like an auctioneer. Everybody get 5. 5. Do I see a 5? Everybody see a 5? Be uncommon. Yes, Anthony. That's gonna be our new dispatch sign. Be uncommon. I like it. Be uncommon is awesome. If you wish people to be uncommon, that's fantastic. Get people to get outside the norm, to think differently, to be different. It's fantastic. I think 5 is a clear winner. Okay, we go with 5. You guys have a great weekend, and don't forget, you only see there's a bunch of 5s because there are a bunch of 5s from YouTube, Linda. That's why, not just Facebook. Aha. So I see both YouTube and Facebook. So there are. Let's see. I can tell you right now. 1, 2, 3, 4 5s, and that's it. If it is, we only had like 2 more people, so 5 wins. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Thank you so much for being here. As always, be uncommon. Let me take off my scary face and put on the cutest face ever of